The story is about a girl and her friend Megan, who were 11 years old and working on a science project for school. At one point during the project, her mom had told them that they would have to finish it later, as they had to run an errand at Walmart. She said that she didn't like them staying home alone, as she thought they were too young. The girl's mother was overprotective of them, so they decided to go to the nearby store. She asked her mom if Megan and I can go into the toy aisle. Surprisingly, the mother gave the okay and even handed them a $20 bill to buy whatever they wanted, and she and her friend Megan went to look for a toy. As they're looking, they saw a store employee came up to them, and he asks them if they needed help. She asked him if he had any sort of puzzles around, and he points to the direction of the other aisle. She give him a friendly thanks and go to the aisle and look through the puzzles. About 10 seconds go by, and girls then see him enter the aisle, where he bends down and casually puts his hand on her shoulder and asks, "So, did you girls find what you were looking for?" She thought that it was a little strange. The girl thought it was strange, but in her 11-year-old state, she didn't feel threatened. She thought it was a friend trying to be friendly or give them more help. She tell him that they were fine and that they were just looking, but thanked him for his help. He then said it was no problem and to not hesitate to ask him if they needed anything else. As he said this, he begins to slowly rub her back before getting up and leaving to another aisle. At this point, she was a little creeped out as well as Megan, and told her that they should just leave. That's exactly what they did, and they make their way over to the line where her mom had been checking out. As they're waiting in the checkout line, they see that employee walk past them, giving them a smile and even a gentle wave. The line thankfully moved forward, and they bought their things and left the store to go home. About a week later, during lunch at school, she was looking through her Instagram, where she mainly posted pictures of her dog. When she see a few comments from a user she didn't recognize, after further searching the comments, she had gone to the account and saw posts of that same Walmart employee. She have no idea how he found her Instagram, as she keep it private and don't let anyone follow her unless she knew them. As a matter of fact, she don't even remember accepting his request, or if he even requested to follow her in the first place. She blocked the account and thankfully never heard from him again. I've been working at Walmart for about 3 years now. It's not the best job, but it has decent pay, and was enough to pay half the rent while my boyfriend paid the rest. One week, my manager gave me a week of closing shifts. This was really inconvenient, as I had a 7:45 a.m. class on Wednesdays. It was annoying to say the least, but I sucked it up and worked my shifts as scheduled. Well, one night during that week, it was 10 minutes before we closed, and the only ones in the store were me and my other co-worker, Seth. Seth was counting up the registers while I was mopping the floors of all the aisles. At one point while mopping, I go down one of the aisles and see a man looking at the shelves of the arts and crafts section. This was odd, as Seth and I did a sweep throughout the store to make sure everyone was gone, and we didn't see this man anywhere. I politely tell him that the store is closed and that he'd have to come back tomorrow. He looks at me and profusely apologizes, telling me that he just has to pick out one more thing. After all, we had closed just a few minutes ago, so I told him to get whatever he needed, but to make it quick. With that out of the way, I decided to go put the cleaning supplies away and took that time to use the restroom before I clocked out. Now, the restroom in the front has been out of order, which meant that I had to use the one in the back of the store. I go into the bathroom, take off my vest, and do my business. About 30 seconds later, I hear the door to the bathroom open and someone step inside. For some reason, I thought it was Seth telling me that he was leaving or something, and with that, I called out his name. However, I didn't hear a response back, and that's when I texted him asking if he were by the back of the store. He instantly responded saying no, and that he was still waiting for that other customer. That's when I look up and see an eye staring at me through the crack of the stall. I screamed the loudest I've ever had and pulled up my pants, ramming the door, pushing the man to the ground. I ran over to the front and told Seth everything. He called the police. Thankfully, the police station wasn't too far from here, so they were able to send an officer over within 2 minutes. The police had told us to get out of the store while they went inside as they didn't know if he was armed. Turns out he actually had a 4-inch hunting knife he had on him from our outdoor section. He had it in his back pocket, and God only knows what he was going to do with it. He was arrested, of course, and had actually done similar things before. He had been put in jail before, but was released for good behavior. This time, I'm not sure as to how long he was going to be in jail for, but I hope it's a while, as that was probably the scariest thing to ever happen to me. If something feels off or wrong about something, I strongly suggest that you always trust your gut. It may just save your life.